for those who don't remember what happened in Bhopal, there was basically a chemical leak, and it was a poison for rodents and pests and things of that nature. And India was looking for, at the time, this was back in the 60s, the elevation in terms of the global economy and trying to mass produce crops. And so they needed to create pesticides in order to have that boon in the crop production. And Union Carbide, which was a massive company at the time, and Union Carbide by history had helped really to the Allied forces win World War I, had decided to create a joint venture with the Indian government called Union Carbide India Limited, UCIL, to reduce their risk. They built this plant. And essentially there was a chemical leak, and the chemical leak of this 40 tons of methyl isocyanate, which is cyanide, killed 3,800 people in like an hour. And it resulted in, wide devastation, 578,000 injuries as a result of that over time. They create this plant. It was the first or second of its kind in India. They ended up creating like 10 of these plants. You can see in the first chart, it's right in the middle. They built it in the middle of the country because it was accessible by water, by rail, by roads. And you can see in the second chart here, the Union Carbide factory is right in the middle of the chart. Sorry. Right there. They create the plant. You create the plant, the economy develops. And what you see around that plant is neighborhoods. It would almost be like we're the plant and right across the street is a neighborhood. Be like Manayunk, as a for instance. And so the plant was housed right within the city. As you can imagine, this chemical leak occurs, and it's in the middle of the night, and people don't know where to go, they don't know what happened, and that's how the catastrophe started. Well, I only share these small bullets with you as a prop in that there are 9 of these factors that occurred in Bhopal, and there are multiple instances of these factors occurring. So, for instance, this gas scrubber to capture release mic was only designed for 1/4 of its volume. This flare tower designed for less capacity. The design was not built for the productivity of this particular plant. The deferred maintenance is the water was unable to drain due to clogged bleeder lines. I'm not sure where the bleeder line is, but the fact is it wasn't maintained. The temperature gauges were deemed unreliable. This is hot stuff. The economic pressure. The Bhopal plant never was profitable with this mic production. Yet there was a similar plant, by the way, in West Virginia that Union Carbide had built, identical, that didn't have any of these issues. There were 2 different standards that were being built or used. And part of that is the political agendas. The Indian government had a blind eye. What was more important was the crop production, and what was not important was the safety and the design of this particular plant. I said earlier about the training. Because it wasn't making money, the staff was reduced across the plant. And the maintenance group, this is a big plant, was down to 2 people. It's a pretty complicated place, and they had 2 people. In addition, people were being placed in positions where they had no prior knowledge of that position. So there was no training. The safety manual was in English, yet everyone at the plant only spoke the local language, Hindi. The hospital had no idea what was being made at this particular plant. And so therefore, when people came in great distress, they didn't know what the problem was. So all these bullets, this was like the Super Bowl of bad things happening.